I don't like my background. I need to
And
change
if
that.
you're on the call already, don't forget to take your camera off. If you're not driving or naked, turn your cameras on so we can see what you're doing.
Never
If
not
you
funny when
are
you say that.
leaving your camera off because you are doing something other than this call, shame on you, because you also should be focused and not distracted in order to gain the value out of here that we're trying to convey. So if you're not turning your camera off because you're doing something else, stop doing what you're doing and turn your camera on.
I did a training the other day. I got a certification and they for 2 hours, like you had to raise your hand and say, I've got to turn my camera off for a second, either to use the restroom or whatever. And boy, they were all about it.
I was in a Zoom call one time with who probably most would argue, most successful agents would argue is the number one real estate coach on the planet. Like his time is worth tens of thousands of dollars an hour. And we're on this Zoom call talking about something. And he said, and I always just stuck with me because it was so profound because of the value of his time and what he does. And he said, I'm going to offer this at a discount for the next X amount of people who are on this call specifically and reach out to me. However, one caveat, if your camera's off, you're not included.
Wow. Yeah.
Everyone was like, oh, look, my camera's on.
It's
But he's
funny
like,
because
if your camera was off to this point, the call's being recorded, you don't even bother asking.
yeah.
And
We're
I was like,
since we got so
oh,
we got so used to Zooms and being off camera and it's interesting how people are. I love to see people like I'm always you almost always on the camera. But yeah, I
yeah.
definitely I understand where sometimes people are like, "Oh my God, this is my ninth Zoom of the
Yeah,
day."
no, I totally get it. And if you gotta get up to go let your dog out real quick, and then you're
Yeah.
gonna come sit back down, sure, turn your camera off for a second, put yourself on mute, go let your dog out, come back, sit back down, turn your camera back on. Like I
Well,
have to do that occasionally
I'm
because I got
certainly
five
not
dogs. I get it.
I'm not naked, but I definitely have gym shorts on underneath this pretty shirt. And me getting up would be kind of an odd looking
Yeah,
scenario.
for sure. Well, you're on vacation as well, so we'll give you grace on that. All right, so it is 10:03, so we should probably quit yapping about
Awesome. Let's
cameras
do
on.
it.
So welcome back, everybody, to our Wednesday Rockstar calls. For those who don't know, I don't know that we've actually announced it. So we've had Ted on as a guest coach a couple times now. Everybody seems to be very pleased with him, very well received. So we have asked Ted to come in once a month and just be kind of a staple in our weekly training. So you're going to see his face about once a month, usually the first Wednesday of every month. So break out your champagne and get ready. So
Cheers
I'm
to
going to
all
just
of
turn the
you.
call right over to Ted today. Today is going to be part one of a two-part series. And so be sure to come back on the first week of August to get part two, as well as the workbook that Ted will be giving everybody for what we're going to talk about today. But with that said, Ted, the floor is yours, my friend. Take it away.
All right, let's do it. Hey, everybody, happy Wednesday. Yeah, so we're going to do this in two parts. Usually, this workshop is obviously in person. I've got this whiteboard, and then Walt and I were talking about having a second part with a workbook, and I think that'll work better. So, interactive. Good morning to everybody. If you can, more interactive you can be. I'll try to keep track of the chat. Walt is my backup. If I don't know why I look fuzzy on this camera. But we're just going to be fuzzy. And I am here. I'm on a little bit of a vacation, and but I wouldn't miss this for the world. So I'm really happy to be here, and I'm happy you guys are here. All right, let me share my screen. See if it'll do it for me. Everybody doing good this morning? Oops. Here we go. All right. It says I'm sharing my screen, but can you see it?
Give it just a second. It's still black at the moment. It might be
There it
some, there
is.
it goes. It's up now. It might be some slower bandwidth issues.
Oh, yeah. I'm working off of a guest Wi-Fi here in Jensen Beach, which is where I
Gotcha.
am.
If
Right.
you change your virtual background to a still image instead of the video, that might actually help consolidate some of your
I
bandwidth.
will do that right
Food
now.
for thought.
Good idea. Good idea. Let's see. How do we do that, Walt? Ba-da-ba. Any better? Can you
There we
see
go. Yeah, we can
it?
still see you. Yeah, it's
Okay,
just a blurred background. Those videos tend to suck up some of the background bandwidth for
you are
sure.
correct. So you can see the presentation though? All
Yep.
good? Okay, so we've talked about knowing your value. We've talked about social media powerhouse. But I love this presentation because I think this is an overall awesome way for you to approach not just your real estate business, but just things in general. This talks mostly about I'm going to talk mostly about real estate, but this is 10 steps to building unshakable confidence in business. And so we're going to spend half of the time. It's very interactive. I would love for you guys to raise your hand, put stuff in the chat, anything that you want to say. I would love to hear from you because that's where we all get ideas and that's where that collaborative spirit comes in. And we can all feed off each other and help each other out. So I'm Ted Bogert. I'm Senior Business Development Manager for New American Funding. I also have a podcast called The TED Show, and then I run a community called T8020 Community. All of that is in you'll see it at the end. I'll eventually jump to that and give you my QR code. But today is about building confidence, trying to figure out, because I feel like, I don't know anyone who hasn't had a moment, even if you are a professional, where you're like, wow, did that just happen? Or why did that happen? Or I should have done this better. And you begin to question yourself and you begin to get inside your own head. What I want to do is help you build confidence. I want to give you some steps that you can do and some things that you can do. I see a lot of people coming in. Welcome, everybody. Okay, why does confidence matter in real estate specifically? Confidence leads to more listings, stronger negotiations, and trusted relationships. If you don't come across confident, they're going to sense it. We all can tell when somebody's not confident, when they're hemming and hawing, when there's a lot of you knows in their speech, when there isn't enough data, when they can't answer a basic question about an area you're looking in. It's very important for you to have the confidence, and the only way to have the confidence, and we're going to go through it, is for you to practice. And we're going to talk about some practicing things and some things that you can do. So let me ask you, when you think of the word confidence, when you think of you and being confident, what's an adjective? What's a word that comes to mind? How would you consider yourself confident? What's an attribute or a character? I'll be happy to share mine while you guys are doing that because I can't see the chat for some reason. Well, you keep track of that chat. I'm fearless. I'm not afraid of having a conversation. No scenario scares me. My confidence is just this. Even my kids and my wife will mention it. We talked about it last night. You just speak confidently, whether you know what you're talking about or not. And I think that's a lot of it. A lot of times I am speaking before I 100% know and I'll get the answer for you, but I'm confident I'm going to get the answer. That's the other difference. I don't feel like there's an opportunity for me to be just like, oh, well, I don't really know that. And I'm confident. Look, if you ask me a question about the sky, I'm going to tell you all I know about the sky, and it might not answer your question, but I'm certainly going to get you the answer. So I feel like confidence for me is being fearless. I know I'm going to get the answer, and I'm 100% sure that of the fact that that will happen, and I will get you what you want. Do we have any comments? Anybody else putting anything in the chat? Well, I don't know why I can't see it, but that's probably a me thing. Oh, there's the chat. My bad. Confidence is vital
Sorry,
in
I
all
was on mute there for a
relationships.
second.
No, you're good. Confidence, Felicia, confidence is vital in all relationships. You're right. Light up a room. Rhonda, I love that one. And as a true crime person, I'm always afraid somebody's going to say that about me because that's always the person who is not with us any longer. But you're absolutely right. Light up a room is one of my favorites. Confidence. You can tell when somebody walks into the room. You can tell when somebody is confident. And you can also tell the people who sit in a corner and cower or are very afraid to have any kind of discussion. They definitely are not feeling very confident. Knowledgeable, we're going to talk about that, Celia. Knowledgeable is everything. You've got to have the knowledge, or at least have an idea of how to access the knowledge. You don't have to know everything about everything, but you need to be able to be a resource. And by being a resource, you have to have other resources so that you can speak confidently that you can get an answer. Humble but assured of what you know. Humility is such an underrated part of confidence. I agree with you, Walt. Being humble immediately breaks down barriers And so when you speak, after you've been humble and appear humble and are humble, when you speak, they're going to listen to you and you can speak with confidence. But I agree, humility is a huge, huge, huge part of being confident. All right. Excellent. Thank you guys for participating in that. Did I skip one? There we go. All right. Here's what sets me apart. We talked a little bit about this in the Know Your Value. You have to know what sets you apart. In Orlando, Central Florida, there's 18,000 realtors in our association. So how am I supposed to pick as a consumer? How am I supposed to pick you over anyone else? That ends up being your responsibility. You have to know what sets you apart from other people. You have to know that you grew up in a certain area, that you grew up in a neighborhood. You have to understand what it is that you bring to the table that you believe confidently no one else brings to the table. I also want to talk about this make a list of wins. We're going to talk a little bit about that maybe in part two. But there is absolutely nothing wrong. I want you to get it out of your head of celebrating your wins and understanding what your wins are. There's a difference between sharing what your wins are and being narcissistic and a braggart. You just have to find the fine line there for you. But you have to know what your wins are. How did you solve a problem? What tough deal did you have that you got through that you can bring up? Because as you all are experiencing, all of these deals are not picture perfect, 800 credit score, best DTI, best scenario on the planet, best house to list. Never had an upgrade. I have one, I'm working with a realtor right now that the plumbing was supposed to be done the last 10 years. It's a 30 or 40-year-old plumbing. You have to understand what deals you did, and there's no reason that you shouldn't be confident because you were able to resolve the problem. And then practice saying, here's what sets me apart. Here's what sets me apart is not narcissistic. It's not braggart. This is you telling them, you're actually telling them, here are the things that I have done. Here are the things I have accomplished. Here is why I am different when you're talking to a buyer or a seller on a consult. So understanding what sets you apart. So I'd love for somebody to say, what is it that sets you apart? What is it that makes you different? If you could put it in one word or a couple of words, what are the things that set you apart that when you sit down, you know you are the best realtor for them?
I don't stop.
Who said that?
Esther.
Hey, I love it. I don't
Somebody
stop.
called me. Well, you're a bulldog when it comes to that. So I told them to call you. I'm like, okay.
That is awesome. And I love how you absolutely accept that and embrace that. To me, you don't stop is a great one. Consistent, um, you're tirelessly working for your buyer or your seller. You constantly are trying to find ways or solutions to the problems that they might have or you might have on the other side of the transaction or any kind of qualms or questions they might have. So yeah, I like being a bulldog. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Anybody else? And you can either pop on or put it in the chat as soon as I find the chat.
I see
No.
tenacious in the chat. Good verb.
I love that. Is it Elena?
Yep.
Elena, tell me about tenacious. Why did you choose that word? It's a great word.
Oh goodness, can you hear me? Sorry.
Yep, we
Where
can
am
hear
I?
you.
Okay. I don't know. I don't stop, but like not in a bulldog capacity. I just constantly try to think outside the box. Like what can we do? What just I like a puppy with a root. So not a bulldog, but like a puppy with a root.
I love it. But again, it's the similar thought process of I know that I'm going to do everything I know to do and then some to get the transaction done, to answer the questions, to get a solution to a problem. Because as you all know, you especially, and I say this every chance I get, the realtor to me, it has the most difficult job in the entire transaction because you're dealing with everybody on every side of the transaction. And so you have to be solution based. So I love tenacious. Thank you. Um, Tracy Lynn says, I'm an attorney and advocate by trade. What does that mean? Tell us.
I have 30 years of legal experience and excellent contract knowledge, and no one will advocate harder for you than I will.
Perfect. Oh my God, it's like a 15-second elevator speech, which I absolutely love. You have to know if, remember, you got a license. It may
Yes.
be a long time ago, but you got a license. You got whatever it was to get to where you are. You have put in hard work. Even if you're a relatively new agent, you still are the expert or the pro in the room when you're talking to your buyer or your seller. So remember, you actually do come with more experience than anyone at the table. So when you're having these conversations, advocate by trade. She's 30 years in. She knows the contracts. So do you. You know the contracts. It's okay to talk about. I understand the contracts. I'm going to make sure that I represent you, buyer, or you, seller, in the best way that I possibly can because of my experience. Solution based was perfect. Yes, Felicia, I agree. So thank you for that. So remember, here's what sets me apart. When you have any conversation, that should be the first thing that you're thinking, in my opinion. That's the first thing you should be thinking about, how you're going to communicate that to your buyer or seller. Excellent, excellent. Okay, master the market. We touched on that with Tracy Lynn a little bit and understanding the market. Confidence comes from competence. If you don't know what's going on in the market, if you don't know what the changes are, Walt brought one up to me the other day, and in all fairness, I had only heard about it and I hadn't seen it. It was some updated FHA changes that should positively impact you. And then, of course, after I saw the email from Walt, my team had sent a whole bunch of emails and we're creating all these flyers, right? So, but these are the things that you have to know. You have to keep on top of it. It doesn't mean you have to pay a ton of money to subscribe to every list, but being part of this alliance group, being part of the coaching, understanding what's going on in your market. If you're not tapping into all of your associations' data that they provide, my association, for example, gives me a market update every week. Do you know what I do with that? I download the video and then I upload it myself and I say, here's what the market is and give them credit. Why is that important? Because that shows that I understand what's going on in the market. Also, remember, so many of these people are checking social media first. So, where are they getting their news? They're also getting it from social media. So, depending on who you listen to on TikTok or Facebook, you're probably getting a whole bunch of misinformation, and then you're getting a whole bunch of competing or contradictory information. And so that brings you in as the master of the market. You know what your market is. You understand what the numbers are, what the inventory is, what's the average price. You understand the neighborhood that you've worked or canvassed. All of that is so important when you're going in. And there's no reason you shouldn't lead with that or at least talk about it after you say what sets me apart. You want to let them know what you do and what you bring to the table. And it can't just be a bunch of fluff. I have sat with and coached people through buyers presentations, BBAs, that whole thing for a very long time since that all happened. Seems like 100 years ago, but it's not that far long ago when we all were doing that. The lack of confidence because they don't understand the market or don't know how to communicate what's going on in the market was astounding to me. So, of course, the coaching part of me was like, all right, here are the things that you need to do. In reality, it's just keeping updated on what's going on in your market and in the industry as a whole. Do you need to know everything going on with lending? No, but you need to have a partner that knows everything going on with lending, or at least can get access to the data. So, just out of curiosity, again, everybody's got a different definition of all these things. That's why I love having a conversation. What makes you an expert in this market? In this market right now? Who here feels like we've got a crazy little market going on again? Where are we at? I hear it's a buyer's market. I hear it's the most inventory we've had on since 2020. I mean, you're hearing all sorts of things, but what makes you an expert in your market? What makes you different? And not just here's me and here's what sets me apart. What do you understand about the market that when you're talking to your buyers or your sellers or your business people? I'm looking, I'm sorry. All right, I'm seeing some of these. Craig. So you understand this is a little bit back to here's what sets me apart, but you also understand the market. Craig's talking about how he came here and how he understands the market. So when people from outside of the area or maybe even the country are going in to purchase um, a house, he understands what it's like to come from another market or outside the market. Almost every realtor association or MLS has monthly, quarterly. You're absolutely right. Do you have time? Do you have to spend time reading and digesting the data? Yes, you do. That's what Walt said. You at least have to understand. One of the things I love about the podcast that Walt and I do is Walt breaks that down. I always tell him to not just dumb it down, you need to TED it down. You need to get to the very basics of what is going on in the market and be able to understand it, not because you're going to regurgitate it fact by fact in a way that only a realtor would understand or a real estate professional, but you have to be able to regurgitate it back to them like they're baby birds. So you have to give them pieces of it. You have to make it palatable for them. And so you have to understand it enough so that you can then translate it for them in a way that makes sense to the consumer. Great one, Walt. The trends here depend on price point, specific area, single family homes versus condo. I have an understanding of the nuances. Tracy Lynn, I love the nuances word. That is absolutely correct. Remember, each neighborhood is different, each zip code, each subdivision within a neighborhood is different. Each geographical area, like I'm in Central Florida, it's such a mess of Disney-esque kind of investment homes to traditional homes. We have just such a myriad of tourists that come in and investors that come in. You have to understand the nuances of each of the neighborhoods. You don't have to understand everything about everything. You have to focus on what you know and what air. If you like a specific area, get to be the absolute expert in that area. If you live in a neighborhood or a development, become the marketing expert. The neighborhood that I live in, there's one lady until very recently who sold and listed and sold and brought buyers in to every single house. Why? She lived there. She got to know the market. She understood the market. She understood the neighborhood. She understood what was going on. She could talk that knowledge off the top of her head instead of having to use chat. She understood what was going on in her neighborhood and she made herself the expert. So everybody in the neighborhood referred to her. It's only recently where she has gotten off that. And I'm starting to see other realtors trickle in to my neighborhood, which is kudos for them. You're in the Scottsdale, Phoenix magic zip code. I like it. You have to know those zip codes too. Remember, understanding the market doesn't mean you have to be as self-described nerd like Walt. You just have to understand it enough to know how it's going to impact your buyer or seller. That's it. You have to understand if I have a realtor that I coach. He's got a house that is surrounded by brand new builds that are going for less than what he's selling it for and have more amenities and they're newer. So he has to understand that market so that he understands how to market it. Otherwise, who's going to come to that listing? His open houses, who's going to go? Why would you go to that open house? I mean, I have the answers for him, and so does he. But why would you if you're outside? You have to understand what's going on in your market in order for you to have that confidence in that speaking. Excellent, excellent, you guys. Thank you. All right, we touched on this a little bit. I'm not a big elevator speech fan. But I understand the logic behind it. Why is that important? Why do you need to practice? Why, when somebody says, tell me what you do in 30 seconds or less, and before you leave and go to the bar, which is what I do, you want to be able to enunciate or at least communicate with them what it is you do. The only way to do that is to practice it. The only way for you to do it where it sounds completely confident is for you to practice your pitch. And by pitch has such a negative connotation, but I don't think pitch is bad at all. This is you telling somebody in 30 seconds or less, if that's how you go, or a minute or less, why? Why you? Why me? Why would you choose me? Why? And so role playing is important. I'm not going to get into a ton of role playing right now, but I would love to hear. I know all of you are thinking, okay, what's my pitch? What do I usually say? If you're not saying that, you need to create something, even if it's bullet points that you have to memorize that you know you're going to cover. Why is that important? Because you get one opportunity usually. You get that listing appointment or that buyer consult. And if you go in there discombobulated, disorganized, not communicating well what it is you have to offer, you've lost them. And in this competitive market, that's not a place where you want to be. So we want to practice your pitch. You want it to be consistent and confident. You don't want to wing it. It says that in there, I know. Don't want to wing it. Why don't you want to wing it? Because most people who try to wing things don't do a fantastic job. It's very hard to communicate from or shoot from the hip, as we used to say in the old days. Why is that difficult? Because somebody before you and someone after you is going to be polished and professional and authentic and have their ish together, and they're going to be able to communicate it in a way that the consumer can digest it and understand it. If you come in, I'll know I have been on I sometimes go on BBAs because they're just to see, because I'm also a lender, so I sometimes go and we talk about this and we talk about things. And I'm just amazed at the lack of communication and the amount of you knows and ums. Look, if you're not a great speaker in front of people, that's okay. But when you know what you're talking about and you understand the points of your pitch that you want to get across and you practice, you won't have as many ums and you knows. I was on a training the other day and I started counting because it was making me crazy, the number of you knows. Well, you know, well, you know, well, you know, you know. No, I don't know. That's why you're talking to me. I'm the person you're supposed to be communicating with me. I don't know. So enough you knows. And the only way to get past that is for you to be confident. So if you're thinking about talking to a buyer or seller, what's the best part? What's the part that you always feel most confident talking about in your pitch? For me, and I'll share as you guys begin to share. Um, Mine is that I'm a true partner. I know that I'm going to do everything I can in my resources to find a solution to your loan scenario, to find a solution to whatever it is that you need from my perspective. And sometimes other perspectives. I'm a great resource. I know I'm a phenomenal resource for information and solutions to get the deal done and or to get things done that are even outside the deal. For example, I have a list of Central Florida um, deep cleaners that I get. So when you've got a buyer coming in and doing a buy, a lot of times there's going to be a deep clean beforehand. I have home inspectors, I have insurance agents. I know that I have a resource, so I understand what a solution is for whatever problem they're going to throw my way. How about you guys? What did you say? Have a framework for your conversation. Practice those conversations on yourself in the mirror and show up prepared but flexible. So I'm telling you all of this that this is great, Walt. I'm telling you all of this that you have to practice. You have to understand. You don't want to sound robotic, but you want to sound confident. The only way for you to get past robotic and into confident is for you to practice. Walt said something very key in that last comment he made, prepared but flexible. If I ask you a question that isn't in your prepared questions and you start to go and seem like you're lost and you can't answer that or you don't have an answer for how you're going to solve that, that is being prepared and not flexible. Just because you have a script doesn't mean somebody isn't going to ask you something that isn't in that prepared script. So you want to be flexible, such an important thing. And how do you become flexible? when you are the master, when you get to know, when you have practiced this. You can't practice for every scenario, but you can absolutely practice to know that you're going to get the solution and how you respond to something that's outside of your 9 dots of your preparation. Let's see, I've got a couple here. Yes, knowing what I do differently and how to set myself apart is a confidence booster. Absolutely. And then I see something, Esther. I've torn down a house, bulldozed one, rebuilt it, repaired old ones. I know what's needed to be looked at and what could happen after the sale and what they need to be aware of that could happen. Esther, that's great. What did she just tell us there? She's experienced all of this, so she can answer questions and have solutions and ideas to address it. I guarantee you, you all have had somebody who asks you a question, or you go into a listing appointment and you're like, how in God's name am I going to market this? I want this listing so bad, but what am I going to do? Being confident, understanding, having the experience, practicing that discussion is going to get, my experience is going to get you more listing clients and more buyers clients because that perceived confidence is what's going to put you over the edge or what's going to separate you or set you apart. All right. You guys are so good. Okay. So dress like you. I'm known personally, my brand. I don't have it on now because, as you know, I have gym shorts on underneath this pretty shirt. Um, dress like you. And I mean that with a little bit of a caveat. So, what you want to do is you want to feel good. Why is that? Why do you want to dress so that you feel good? If you're in an outfit that doesn't make you feel good, it's going to sound very fluff, but it's so important. When Walt, for example, walks in, he's most likely going to be Walt in a Hawaiian shirt. That's his brand. That's what he's comfortable in. There's no airs about it, and that's who he is. What does that do immediately? First of all, it's a sign of confidence. Also, he's comfortable in his skin, so he's going to go in and immediately exude confidence. He knows that's what he's comfortable in, and the people are going to pick up on that. Develop your own. What's your style? Mine is jackets. I have jackets and shoes, jackets and shoes. Everybody knows me for my jackets and shoes. Some people would say, well, that's just you being flashy. You want attention, Ted. And I would say, well, perhaps. But um, the majority of it is I'm comfortable that way. I feel good when I'm in a nice jacket, a colorful jacket. I like color. I like crazy shoes. I like to look different. And I don't like to look different because it's different. I like to look different because I feel good. And when I feel good, I am more confident in my speaking, in how I communicate, in how I interact with people one on one or in a group. So professional doesn't have to be boring. I have a client that I coach who was wearing best way I could describe it was something I would wear in the 90s. It was a very 90s suit. And every time he would come and we would meet, he would have the tie undone and the jacket undone. It looked like it hadn't been dry cleaned. And I finally said, "Hey, what's up with the disheveled look?" He goes, "Well, I just know I need to be in a suit, but I hate it." I go, "Well, it's apparent you hate it. And so if I notice you hate it, guess who else is going to notice you hate it? You come across irritated. You don't seem like you're yourself. You almost seem agitated to be with me." And I know I'm putting that back on something very materialistic, but I can 100% tell you that your people pick up on those clues. So whatever you're going to wear, I have a realtor that I work with. He's got long dreads. God bless him. And one of our first conversations was, "Hey, do you think I should do something with my dreads?" I'm like, "Do you love your dreads?" "Yeah." "Well, then that's how you need to present because that's where you're comfortable. That's who you are. That's how you feel. Now I got a question for you. Do you dress differently depending on the client? I'll share my story and then I'll wait for a couple of comments from you guys. I had somebody who I'm a jeans and jacket and shoes guy. Again, comfortable. I actually, until very recently, didn't own a suit except for what I called a funeral suit, which was a black suit that I only wore to funerals. True story. And I had somebody who wanted to do a multi-million dollar luxury brokers open. And they're like, "Well, are you going to wear a suit?" And I thought, why am I wearing a suit? Most people who have that kind of money probably are going to dress even more down than me. So why would I look all stuffy? Why would I dress for a perception when I actually know that, first of all, I'm not comfortable doing that. And then I also know the market. Most people I know who are multimillionaires who have big properties and things, they dress down and they dress uniform. So why I'm going to dress how I feel comfortable. And so it was interesting because that particular seller came in at the end of the broker's open. He was dressed in shorts, flip-flops, a shirt like Walt's, Ray-Bans, looked like he had just been to the beach, and there were no airs about him. And I spent a good amount of time talking to him. Why? Because everybody else was in a suit. And I almost feel like he felt uncomfortable with those people. So you have to dress for you. But did anybody answer, as I'm rambling on, did anybody answer how they dress? Oh, yeah, I see some. I'm sorry. You do you. That's what you should do, Tracy Lynn. You're known for elegant, simple, elegant, and comfortable with a touch of bling. Amen to that. I could describe myself. You wear super dark jeans so they look nice. So you've really thought that out. Why is that important? Again, she said she's comfortable in that. That's what she likes. Ted, wear your pants. Wear your pants. Very nice, Walt. That's what she feels good in. Don't ever try to go in on your dress because remember, the before you even speak a word, they're judging you. They're looking at you in what you're dressed in. They're looking at the energy you present from what you're dressed in. And I can tell you 100% if you're confident in the way you look, if you feel good in your outfit, it's going to exude confidence to them. They're going to pick up on it immediately. So wear what you want, wear what you're comfortable in. Am I saying that I would me personally, I'd never go to a meeting in a Speedo. I'm not comfortable in Speedos. Nobody wants to see me in a Speedo. Nobody wants to see anybody in a Speedo, just for the record. But you want to go where you're comfortable. I like colorful. You may like dark. I love that Tracy Lynn said she likes bling. Wear what makes you comfortable because that is your first impression with them. All right. Did I miss any comments? I think I did. Sorry about that. No, except the time I went to an equestrian. You should have worn your boots. I see Rhonda's talking about an equestrian property. I love it. Yeah. I mean, I have been out in very nice shoes I've done a broker's open at an equestrian property before. That was shame on me for wearing really nice shoes. But the jeans were perfect for it for me. Let's see if I missed anybody. All your clothes are black and pink, Miriam. I love it. Like my branding colors. She's comfortable. She likes black and pink. Great. Do what makes you feel good, and your client will sense that. Your opportunity, your person there in front of you will sense it. All right, excellent. It's so funny. I get so many that's usually one of the slides that gets so many confidence because we don't talk enough about how we dress. All right, let's see.
I was half a step away from stepping on a snake last year,
Uh-oh.
and the buyer pulled my arm back. He grabbed me and pulled me back. He's like, "You're about to put your foot down on a snake." And we walked backwards.
You walked
And I
backwards.
scared a deer. So when you're in any kind of grass, you should not wear flip-flops.
You should not wear flip-flops
Or
is
open-toed shoes.
yeah, especially when you guys have to walk properties all the time.
Yes.
That's also something. So, yes, you may like your high heel shoes as a woman, but maybe you want to bring, I think somebody might have put it in there. They had a change of shoes for any time they're out walking a property. Well, you know what? Those kind of shoes can still be not just comfortable and important to have. They can also look how you want them to look. It's really a matter of just planning, but I love that. No, no snakes for me. Thank you very much. All right, use positive self-talk, and we'll try to wrap it up on this slide. Um, how tell me, share with me what your morning routine is. Meaning, when your eyes open, what is the first thing or the first couple of things that you do? And I'm going to share mine, and Walt's shared his before, at least online. We've talked about this. I'm a faith guy, so my first thing is prayer, and I kind of meditate a little bit, and I just think I don't grab my phone right away. I also don't wake up and the first thing I say is, "Oh my God, I didn't sleep great. Oh my God, I hate my job. Oh my God, I can't believe I have to get out of bed now." I am intentional on the positive self-talk. Positive self-talk really is one of the most important slides here in the discussions. Your whole day, all your interactions, everything you do is tied back to some sort of self-talk, whether it's positive or negative. And the words are, you are your own worst enemy. We are our own worst enemies. So if you wake up immediately and the first things that you're thinking are negative, you're having a negative impact on your day. You then have to begin to dig yourself out of that. I do the prayer. I do positive self-talk, meaning I'm super excited, and I am. I'm super excited for today. Here are the things that are exciting for me. I don't immediately roll over and doom scroll. And I'm not judging anyone from doom scrolling because I do it at night sometimes. It makes me sleepy, honestly. But I'm paying attention to what I'm saying to myself. And I love the second thing on this slide. Replace what if I fail? What if this meeting goes wrong? What if this buyer hates me? What if I don't close on time? What if the inspection is bad? If you can replace those thoughts for what if I crush it? What if the inspection is over I mean, the appraisal is over what we want? What if they find nothing wrong in the inspection? The positive self-talk is so important that every religion known to man, law of attraction, all talk about how important it is to talk positively to yourself, to not put out into the universe the negative, to not negatively talk to yourself. A lot of people don't believe in daily affirmations. I do. I have a little set that I do every morning. Again, I like to set my day. The way I do it. I like to set the day and the tone of the day by doing daily affirmations. But some are here. I'm a trusted expert. My clients are lucky to work with me. They absolutely are. And the minute you begin to believe that and say that out loud, I promise you'll have a turnaround if you're a negative self-talker. How many people here self-talk, negative self-talk? We've all done it. We've
Only when
all
I'm at the
done
gym.
it. Yeah.
Let's
We,
go, fatty. You got it. Push. But other than that, it's all positive.
well, and that's the interesting thing, right? We know when we're being negative. We know when we're being hard on ourselves. I guarantee you that if you have a close friend or family member and they spoke those words out loud to themselves that you're speaking to yourself negatively, you would go, "That's not true. You're a fantastic human being. Things are rough right now, or maybe you're having a tough time, but you're amazing, you're loving, you're supportive, you're intelligent, you're smart, whatever it is." You would be on them saying, "Don't talk like that." So why do we allow it for ourselves? Why do we allow ourselves to be so negative on ourselves? I've got some comments here. Rhonda says, I heard a quote. We have 6,000 thoughts per day. 80% are negative, 95% are repetitive. What would I do if I knew I couldn't fail? From Ryan Leak. That's excellent. 80% are negative. That's scary. Remember, I'm not judging you if you're like that because we all go through it. I don't go my whole day like Ted Sunshine. I have moments where I'm thinking, oh my God, did that just happen? Or I'm stressing about something. I'm creating scenarios in my mind, the worst what if scenarios on the possible on the planet. But what I do is immediately, because I practice this, I go back and I say, that's negative, Ted. This is going to be good. I get to do this. I'm excited for this. It sounds so trivial, but it makes such a difference in your day. Think about it. What if somebody on the outside was saying all of those negative things to you all day long? How would you feel? You would feel awful. You'd cower. You'd want not want to get out of bed. So why do you do that to yourself? You're not going to permit someone else to do it. Don't allow it for yourself. And then I've got another comment and we'll wrap it up. Coffee and emails. What if it's all perfect? That's right, Felicia. What if it's all perfect? Go into it like that. Another thing that I do on the affirmations in the morning is most of us say we have to. And I would love to encourage you to change the word have to get. Instead of I have to go to work, I have to go to this walkthrough, I have to. It sounds laborious. It sounds like it's a pain. It sounds like something you don't want to do. If you change the word to get, I get to go to my walkthrough. I get to spend time with my clients driving around all day on a Sunday looking for houses. I get to. Get is as if it's a prize, it's a positive thing. Get says to the world, the universe, God, your inner monologue, this is a good thing. I get to do this. A lot of people don't get to do it. I get to do it. That's a positive affirmation for you. So if you can think of changing the word have to get, that would be awesome. And then I'll take one more. Speak kindness and positivity to yourself. That's correct. Every day you should do it. And if you don't do it and you want to, I'll put me on a, say, Ted, I don't do this. I'll send you a morning. I have a group. I think I'm at 37 or 38 people where every morning after I'm done with me, they get a little bit of a positive. The group used to be a lot larger. But they've finally grown and realized that they have to stop negatively speaking about themselves. Did I miss any comments? And then we'll wrap up. And I like the word crush too. Yes. Gratitude, 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 gratitude. We'll talk about that in another slide, but I'm going to cut it off here because we're at 45, 48. Um, you all just be good to yourselves. The whole point of this is for you to be confident. And the best way for you to be confident is to really kind of look at the things that you're doing and how you're mastering them and what makes you or sets you apart. But you guys had great comments today. Thank you for that. And that's it, Walt. Any questions for this half?
No, this was great. Hopefully everybody got good value out of this. Again, on Ted's next call, which is going to be the first Wednesday in August, we'll do the second half of this presentation, and he's also going to have a workbook for you to go through so that you can kind of refine this in a more personal setting. You can build this out for yourself. So Ted, fantastic. Any questions, comments, thoughts for the crowd before we wrap up?
Can we get a picture?
Sure.
Any objections?
No, we can get a picture.
You know I gotta have a picture, Walt. That's my thing. All right. Anybody want
Everybody
to turn on their
smile.
pictures? Everybody smile. Wow, what a great group. You guys are amazing. I didn't realize we had this many people on the group. You all feel free to reach out to me too. I sent Walt the presentation. Maybe just share the first 5 slides. I'll send it to you adjusted. I'll send you my QR code. If you need anything, you want to be put on my positive affirmation list in the morning where I text people, shoot me a text and say, please put me on that, Ted. We all need it. We all have days where we need it. And so I don't mind. I love doing it. It's good for me. I get to do it. All right, here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Gonna have to add a neck to my picture. You guys were amazing. We'll be back next month. If you have any questions in between, want to run something by me, please do. I'm so thankful for all of the participation today. You guys are awesome.
Awesome. You guys have a great day.
Thank you guys so much. See you soon. Happy July. Happy new quarter.
Yeah, happy 4th of July, which is what, 3 days from now?
3 days
Yeah,
away.
this
3 days
Saturday.
away. Three
Don't
days
blow your
away.
hands off with the fireworks. Have a good time. Eat some hot dogs. Stay out of trouble.
All right, guys.
You
Thank you
guys have a
so
fantastic
much. All right.
day.